Hey guys, so today I really wanted to film a purchase or pass video and talk to you about all of the new makeup releases. I was scrolling through them last night and there are a ton of products to talk about, including quite a few eyeshadow palettes and a few palettes that I'm really excited about, which I feel like has not been the case for a little while. I just haven't been as into eyeshadow palettes this year, partly because I've just been doing something a little bit more simple and partly because I do have a good amount of palettes in my collection that I've enjoyed using. But I feel inspired by a few of the releases coming out, so I'm excited to talk about those. I'm kind of surprised. I thought we would see a lot more holiday releases by now. Just based on the last few years, I feel like brands started releasing holiday products in maybe the end of August, the beginning of September, but we haven't seen too many holiday releases yet. There are a few that I want to mention in today's video, some products I'm planning on picking up, some that I'll be skipping over, so I'll make sure to list everything that I talk about in the description box below, along with links to the products, the release dates if they're not already out yet, and the price info. The first thing I want to mention is that Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty sale actually started on Sunday, and it runs through Saturday, September 18th. So if you guys have never shopped the sale, they offer 50% off of high-end makeup and skincare. Each day the sale changes, so the products are only discounted for 24 hours. The products are typically available in stores and online, but sometimes there are online-only exclusives. I did an entire video on the sale and my recommendations. If you guys want to check it out, I'll link it in the description box below. But one thing I didn't mention in that video is that Sephora typically matches the deals. So if you prefer to shop at Sephora or you're placing a Sephora order and you want those products or they're sold out on Ulta's website, make sure to check out Sephora as well, because typically you can get the same discounts if the brands are also available. So I don't know if you guys plan on picking anything up, but if you're looking for some discounts or you want to glance through it, I'll link the entire sale in the description box below so you can check it out. So Fenty is releasing a new eyeshadow palette called the Bomb Posse Eyeshadow Palette. There's not a ton of information out yet, including a release date and price info, but if it does come out before I upload this video, I'll put that in the description box below. So it comes with 12 different eyeshadows in a variety of matte, glitter, and metallic shades. It says that it's inspired by their star shades Fenty Glow, Fussy, and Hot Chocolate. I do have all three of those gloss bombs, and they are some of my favorite colors. The palette does look gorgeous, but honestly, I feel like Fenty's shadows have just been okay in the past. Like, they've just gotten very mediocre reviews. People don't bash the formula, but they also don't rave about it. I did try one of their palettes. It was like their larger blue palette, and I can't even remember the name. I got it in a BoxyCharm box like a little while, or quite a few months after it had been released, and then it was discounted. I felt like it was on sale for such a long time and then eventually discontinued. And then they did come out with those mini snap shadow palettes. I think that was like the beginning of last year when they did all of those mini 6-pans, and mini palettes were so trendy, so it did make sense, but I also felt like people were just giving the actual formula just an okay review. So I never ended up buying them myself. And I just feel like at this point, there are so many good eyeshadow formulas on the market that it really has to blow me away for me to actually spend my money on it. So this, or like based on this photo, it does kind of look like it's the same packaging as the Snap Shadows, but a little bit bigger. So I don't know if the formula is going to be the same. I assume it is, but maybe they've improved it. It also looks like they're coming out with possibly a face palette that snaps onto the eyeshadow palette. Again, there's not a lot of info, but it does look like it comes with 3 different products in it. I assume there's one kind of based on each color: Fenty Glow, Fussy, and Hot Chocolate. So that does appeal to me a little bit more than the eyeshadow palette. The colors in the palette really are gorgeous, but I just feel like because their eyeshadow formula has been so mediocre in the past, it just isn't something that I feel like I have to have. But I'll definitely be watching some reviews because I'm at least curious to know what people say about it. So I did mention the Urban Decay Cyber Palette in my last purchase or pass video. At that point, I hadn't seen any swatches of it, but since then, I have actually seen quite a few different swatches kind of floating around on Instagram. So I'll include some of those pictures on the screen for you guys. The photos really vary because some of them make the swatches look really interesting. They're eye-catching, unique, and gorgeous. And then some of them kind of look a little bit lackluster, and like the palette as a whole is lacking pigment. I just can't tell how this palette is going to perform based on the different photos I've seen, so I'm still curious to try it out. You know what? I just saw in my subscription feed this morning that Angelica Nyqvist uploaded a review video on it, and she is like the queen of colorful eyeshadow. I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. I'll link her video in the description box below in case you guys want to check it out and hear her thoughts on the palette. But I think that her opinion on the palette might influence my decision either way because I am curious to try it out. But if it is just like a very poor performing lackluster palette, then I just won't waste my money on it. It's just that some of the photos make the shimmers look really interesting. So I can't tell. I can't tell if it's going to be good or bad. A lot of you guys told me that you plan on picking it up, but you're going to wait for it to go on sale, which is actually a really good strategy because a lot of the Urban Decay Naked palettes do get discounted pretty soon after their release. I wanted to talk about just a couple of ColourPop releases, including 3 eyeshadow palettes in today's video. So let's start with this one. This one is the It's a Mood palette. It's going to be available on Wednesday, which is the day this video goes live. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. I'll talk about the shades in just a second. Anyway, I just love this palette. I did get it in the mail as PR, so I would have purchased this myself if I didn't get it. Typically, I don't get ColourPop releases early because I live on the East Coast and ColourPop is on the West Coast. So if there's something that catches my eye and I'm into it, I usually just buy it on launch day and then save it if I get it in the mail for a giveaway or donate it. But this one showed up at my door yesterday and I used it for today's look, and you guys, it is just the most beautiful palette for the fall season. I love the jewel tones, I love the greens and the blues and the purples. Today I'm wearing shades on like the 2 outer rows of the palette. I just used like some browns, some greens, and just kind of applied everything, and I think that it performs so well. The shadows are rich and vibrant. Now I do have a full review going up on this, or I will have a full review going up on this on like Monday or Tuesday. I want to make sure I test it out really thoroughly before I share my complete thoughts on it, but it definitely caught my eye and it's something that I would have purchased myself. I'm not typically into these really large palettes. I usually like smaller palettes, and they've really been on like a mini eyeshadow palette kick for the past year. And we haven't seen too many of these large palettes, but I just think this one is perfect. Typically, I can duplicate a lot of their new releases with palettes I already own, even palettes from ColourPop, but I do think there are a good amount of unique shadows in this one. ColourPop also released a new Disney collection. This is the Tinkerbell collection, and it's available now on their website. So you can get the entire collection for $85. It's $96 in value, or you can purchase the products separately or in various bundles on their website. So they did send me this collection as well. I'm in the process of testing it out so I can do my full review for you guys on Monday or Tuesday. But I have to say, this is a really cute collection. Now, I think their Disney collections typically have really cute packaging. I don't want to say I'm not a Disney fan because I think the Disney movies are cute, but I'm not someone who buys like Disney memorabilia, or I won't purchase something just because it's Disney. The reason I say that is because as someone who doesn't typically buy like cute Disney merch, their collections have pulled me in a few times because of the cute packaging. But sometimes when it comes to their Disney collection specifically, the packaging is so fun, and then you open up the product and it's a little bit lackluster, or it's very subdued, a little bit more neutral, because I think they're trying to appeal to a wider customer base. So I was really pleasantly surprised by this collection as a whole because it's a little bit more vibrant. There are some deep jewel tones, the Super Shock blushes are gorgeous, and overall I think it's a little bit more unique. This collection comes with a 9-pan eyeshadow palette, which is a little bit larger than their other 9 pans. It feels more substantial. It's pretty weighted, and I'll talk more about it in my full review, but there are some pretty green tones in it, some nice pinks as well. There are also 2 glossy lip stains, 3 Super Shock blushes, 3 Super Shock eyeshadows, and then 2 cream gel pencils. I think it's a fun collection. The packaging's pretty, the colors in the collection are pretty, so I'll definitely share more of like my final thoughts and swatches and all of that in my upcoming review video. But what do you guys think? I think it's fun for a Disney collection. The last ColourPop palette that I wanted to mention is this one. It is the Sonic Bloom eyeshadow palette. It's available on Ulta's website for $18. I assume that it will be available on ColourPop's website soon. They've been launching products on Ulta's website, and then eventually they'll get the collection as well, and then sometimes they'll add to the collection with like either existing products or they'll expand it. It does look like there are a few lip products available on Ulta's website as part of this collection as well. So this palette's pretty. I think all of their palettes are pretty for the most part, but I do feel like I have a lot of these shades in other ColourPop palettes. I don't plan on picking this one up because I definitely feel like I could duplicate this with other ColourPop palettes I own. But I think it's pretty. It's like a half neutral, half colorful palette. They've been doing like a lot of these floral palettes on Ulta's website, and the packaging is always so pretty. But once I look through the packaging and really take a look at the eyeshadows, I know that I just don't need them. So I personally won't be buying it, but it is available on Ulta Beauty's website if you guys are interested. Okay, let's talk about the new Natasha Denona palette. Natasha Denona is coming out with a mid-sized retro eyeshadow palette on September 3rd, and it will be available for $65. This is something that I know people have been hoping for ever since she released her mini retro palette. If you are one of those people who have just been waiting for a larger version of the mini retro palette, what do you guys think about this? Does it live up to your expectations? Did you think that it would look different? I am so curious to hear your thoughts on this. I think the opinions are going to vary a lot. I was so late to the game. I did pick up the mini retro palette, but not until the last Sephora VIB sale. Originally, I skipped over it because I did think that I had really similar shades in my collection, but whenever I film an eyeshadow palette related video, which is pretty often because I do love palettes, that is like my #1 most recommended palette over and over, no matter what I'm talking about on my channel. So I finally grabbed it, and I'm glad that I did because I think it is a gorgeous palette. The thing about that palette is even though it is like a mini 5-pan palette, the color story is really unique. It has a couple of pink shades in it, and then it has these shades that are kind of different to everyone. Some people describe them as like greenish gray, some people describe them as silver. I've also heard people describe them as like khaki toned. So I definitely thought that a larger version of that palette would be a little bit different. I was expecting like lighter pinky mauves, silvery grays, taupes, and then maybe some green tones as well. I wouldn't have pictured this one. That being said, I really like this mid-sized retro palette for what it is. I think it's gorgeous. Even though it doesn't look anything like the mini retro palette, I still think it is so perfect for the fall season. It fits its name. She said that it is, or like her inspiration behind it was to help you create romantic retro inspired looks. So I definitely get that. I love pink eyeshadow. I love purple eyeshadow. This really is one of the most beautiful palettes I've seen in a really long time, and I think that I would get a ton of use out of it. So I do plan on picking this up. I'm glad she's doing mid-size palettes again because I feel like the $65 price point, while it's still expensive, is a little bit more achievable for a lot of people compared to her $129 palettes. And honestly, I just don't need a palette with that much eyeshadow for that price point. So I'm excited to try it out. I did try her last mid-size palette, Zendo, which I ended up decluttering because a lot of the shades didn't work for me. And it was kind of the same case with Zendo. The mid-sized Zendo palette didn't really look anything like the mini Zendo palette. So I kind of wonder what her thought process was behind creating just mid-sized palettes that are a lot different than the minis, but either way, I think that it's gorgeous. I love the color story. Bronze and Glam are still two of my all-time favorite palettes that she's ever done, and I think that this palette would pair so perfectly with the Glam palette, like that cooler toned neutral palette. So I can't wait to pick it up. I definitely plan on doing a review next week. I'll do like a 3 looks, 1 palette video as soon as I get it. Let's switch gears and talk about some things other than eyeshadow palettes for a minute. So Rare Beauty just launched a new mascara. This is the Perfect Strokes Mascara. It's available on Sephora's website for $20. It also comes in a mini for $11. Oh, and actually that's not a bad option because the mini version comes with a little bit more than half the product that comes in the full-size version for half the price. So if you want to spend a little bit less and still get like a good deal in terms of value, that might be worth trying. The only thing is, I don't know, sometimes I feel like mini mascaras don't perform as well as their full-sized counterparts. I don't know if that's just something that I've like made up in my mind, but in the past I've tried mini mascaras and then tried the full-size version, and the full-size version was amazing, but the mini didn't do it for me. So I don't know if that's always the case. Anyway, this is supposed to be a universal mascara with a unique hugging brush to lift, lengthen, curl, and volumize every lash for a lusher look. I mean, it sounds nice, it looks nice. I don't know, I feel like mascara really is so personal because someone could say it's like the best mascara in the entire world, but everyone's lashes are so different. Some people have really straight lashes. Some people have lashes that hold a curl so well. Sometimes the mascara will flake and smudge on one person and not do that for another. So I do feel like it is the type of product you really have to try for yourself. I have really short, sparse, natural lashes, so I need something that's going to do it all. And this one sounds like it's supposed to. Right now I'm just really loving the Essence, their new one, the Lash what is it called? I get them all mixed up. Lash Princess Volume and Curl Mascara. That one's been really good. I tend to be a big drugstore mascara type of person, so I don't think I'll run out and buy this one, but if it gets rave reviews, I might try it eventually. Makeup by Mario just launched some new brow products. The first one is the Master Blade Brow Pencil. It's available on Sephora's website for $22. So it comes in 7 shades. It's a retractable brow pencil that features an innovative blade tip. I kind of feel like ABH and Fenty and maybe a few other brands have brow pencils like this. I really like the Makeup by Mario products I've tried so far. The quality has been really nice, so I'm definitely curious to try more of his products, but again, right now I'm on like a big drugstore brow product kick. I'm loving the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, which is like $10, so I don't plan on spending $22 on a brow pencil anytime soon, but again, if it gets amazing reviews, maybe I'll try it out eventually. I'm just happy with my more affordable options right now. That being said, I kind of want to try out one of the Makeup by Mario cream blushes because I've been loving the cream bronzer formula so much. Oh, okay, along with the brow pencil, I forgot to mention there's also a lightweight brow gel that's supposed to lift and sculpt. It has a clear matte finish and an ultra tenacious waterproof hold. It is called the Master Hold Brow Gel. It retails for $20. So it does sound like it will lock your brows into place, but again, I'm happy with like my $6 brow gel from e.l.f. I think this one does a good job, so I don't think I need that one in my life. I don't doubt that the quality will be good, it's just not for me right now. Milk Makeup just released their Sunshine Under Eye Brightening Light Coverage Concealer. It only comes in 7 shades. I mean, because it's supposed to be light coverage, it might be a little bit more adaptable. I still feel like they could have released a few more shades because just looking at this photo, it does look like there are some major gaps between the shades they did release. So this retails for $28. You can get it now on Sephora's website. It does come with that glass roller ball that they used for their original Sunshine Skin Tint, which I just don't get. I've talked about this on my channel before and I haven't actually tried it. So it could be just something like super innovative, really different. It sounds interesting, but I just feel like it's not going to apply the product well. I'd rather have like a brush tip, which I'm sure the glass roller ball is maybe a little bit more sanitary, but you could even just like with a brush tip, you could, or a sponge tip, you could just squeeze the product out and apply it on the back of your clean hand if you're really paranoid about having to keep it very sanitary. So I just feel like a glass roller ball is just going to move the product around and not apply it well. But anyway, this is a 99% natural light coverage concealer with skincare benefits. It's supposed to brighten and refresh your under eyes for an easy, no makeup look. I mean, it sounds nice. I know a lot of people love light coverage. If you're looking for a good light coverage concealer from the drugstore, I really like the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. A lot of people have told me that that's actually a dupe for a YSL concealer, which I've never tried, so I don't know if that's the case for sure. But for me, I don't use light coverage concealer enough to spend like $30 on one. I'll use it on occasion if I'm going for like a very natural makeup look, and I do love that one from e.l.f. So personally, I'm set for now. I don't plan on picking this up, but if you guys are curious about it, it is available on Sephora's website. Anastasia Beverly Hills also launched a new concealer. This is the Magic Touch Concealer, and it's available now for $29. So this one actually sounds like something I am curious to try. I might pick this one up. It's a medium to full coverage, creamy, lightweight formula. So it's supposed to correct, brighten, blur, and conceal, and then give you a natural skin finish. But it sounds like it has better coverage than the Milk Makeup Concealer. I haven't watched any reviews on this, but it does sound like a formula I would like, so I think I might try this one. I actually can't remember the last time I tried a new concealer. It's been a really long time. If you guys have tried this one, what do you think? Does it compare to either the Too Faced Born This Way or the Milani concealer? Those two are like my absolute favorites. So I'm curious to know how this one stacks up. And I do feel like it would be fun to try something different. I don't try a lot of new complexion products. I feel like I tend to use the same ones over and over. So I think I might pick this one up, or at least add it to my loves list, so when the Sephora VIB sale rolls around, I can decide if I want to try it out. I've been doing that a lot lately. Like if something really jumps out at me, I'll add it to my loves list and just wait for the Sephora sale, which I think is typically in November, because I'm not in a rush to buy like a ton of new makeup. I do want that Natasha Denona Retro Palette, but otherwise I feel like I can usually wait a little while. I could wait for that as well, but I do think it is so gorgeous. That's something I'm like genuinely excited about. A few more eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes. M Cosmetics is releasing new single shadows on September 9th. They're going to be $26 each, and there are 7 shades. They're inspired by the celestial world of galaxies and supernovas. They provide a futuristic metallic shimmer finish. And it does look like there are also some multi-chromes and then some duochromes as well. I really like M Cosmetics. Whenever they release something, I want to try it. I don't know why, but the brand just pulls me in. I've tried a few products from them that have worked so well for me. So I do like these. I'm not typically really big into super expensive single eyeshadows. I have some in my collection. I just raved about the KVD Beauty Dazzle Stick in yesterday's video. So I do think sometimes they are worth the money, but typically I'm more of an eyeshadow palette fan rather than like a big single shadow fan, which I think is why I haven't really gotten super into indie eyeshadows. I have an entire list of formulas and brands that I want to try, and I know sometimes they do bundles or they do palettes, but typically they are a lot more expensive. And I know that duochromes and multi-chromes and just really pretty shadows that have different finishes can be a lot more expensive to make, which justifies the higher price point. But I don't know, like these days I just feel like I'm not willing to spend a ton of money on makeup. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love trying new makeup, I love reviewing new makeup, I still love makeup, which is why I still upload so much beauty content on my YouTube channel, but I feel like generally I'm not as willing to spend like hundreds of dollars on makeup like I used to. $26 is just, it's a little bit more difficult to justify. Speaking of shimmery eyeshadow palettes, I have to say this Flower Beauty palette is kind of tempting me. I haven't tried No, that's not true. I was going to say I haven't tried a new Flower Beauty eyeshadow palette in a while, but I recently tried a few of their quads, which are really good. But I was watching a review on new drugstore makeup from Jen Phelps, and she was raving about this palette. I will link her video in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. She reviewed a bunch of new drugstore makeup, and I just love her reviews. I think she is so thorough, so helpful. But I didn't even know this palette was out, so I decided to check it out. It's sold out on Ulta's website. Otherwise, I might have purchased it. It comes with 6 shimmering, creamy warm shadows that deliver intense color with a soft prismatic finish. The palette retails for $18, which is, you know, $3 a shadow, and then you can use a coupon on Ulta's website, which makes it a little bit more affordable. I literally just placed a Flower Beauty order like last week on their website, and I didn't even see this one. So I don't think I will purchase this separately on the Flower Beauty website. If it comes back in stock on Ulta's website, I might end up grabbing it then, but I think it's really pretty. The last thing I wanted to mention is that Too Faced has already launched their holiday eyeshadow palette, which I know that I said earlier, September has kind of been the time of year when brands have done holiday collections, but for some reason it just feels a little bit too early for like the annual Too Faced holiday palette. This year they did a cinnamon, what is it? A cinnamon swirl sweet and spicy eyeshadow palette, and it's available on Ulta Beauty's website for $49. It's cute. I'm sure it smells amazing. I haven't purchased their holiday palette. Or how many of these have they done? They did the gingerbread palette, and then they did the gingerbread spice palette, and then I think they did like a third version of it, or maybe they just did the first two, but I haven't purchased their holiday palette that comes in the tin packaging since their original gingerbread palette. I feel like they all end up looking very, very similar, so for me, it's just not something that I personally need. I do think it is fun, and if you're looking for a gift for someone who maybe doesn't have like a drawer full of eyeshadow palettes, maybe uses the same one until they finish it, it could be a fun option because there are some really pretty shades in here, but I don't plan on picking this one up myself. There's also a Melted Matte Cinnamon Bun Liquid Lipstick for $22. I mean, when it comes to holiday makeup and like fun holiday makeup, I feel like Too Faced typically does a good job. It's just not for me as someone who has a lot of makeup already in my collection. Okay, you guys, that is everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I feel like this was a longer video, so thank you so much for watching and sticking with me until the end if you're still watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. I will actually be back tomorrow with a new video. I'm planning on uploading like 4 to 5 videos every day, or no, every week until the holidays. I just feel like there's usually a lot of content to film during the fall and the winter time, so if there's anything you guys want to see on my channel, let me know, but otherwise I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Bye!